Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to talk about Terraform AWS provider and Terraform authentications and followed by that in demo. So let's talk. As we discussed that in Terraform overview or architecture sections or what is the Terraform video, where we talk about that in AWS cloud provider for giving the connectivity for Terraform. Now we are going to talk in details and with the authentication, so how we are going to authenticate. So the AWS Terraform provider is just a plugins which will be downloaded that in once will perform the Terraform in it, and the syntax will be a start from the provider, AWS provider, other cloud provider, and many more. But for Terraform and AWS, there is a you have to use that in a keyword as a provider, a space in double inverted comma, just type the AWS in a small and double then parenthesis and close that. And you can put that in a version and you can put that in regions, some other tag as well. But in this body part, we are going to use that in authentications, the way of connecting that in from your Terraform code to AWS. So in authentications, we have four ways to connect at the moment. Most probably it will be changed going forward, but we don't know. First one is a static credentials, where second one environment variable, third one share credentials file, and lastly EC2 role. We'll talk all those one by one in detail. So static credentials, which is more danger, and I'll not suggest to use it, but this is the one of the way to get that in a connectivity from that in your local Terraform to in AWS. So what you have to do, just you have to use that in region and access underscore key and secret underscore key. So access underscore key and secret underscore key, you can refer from that in AWS, or if you have already gone through that in my AWS video, then that's fine. Otherwise, still you have a time, just go and watch that in my AWS video, especially IAM, which is identity and access management, and I'll provide that in a link below. So what you have to do, you have to click on that in create that in new user. Let's say I'm login with Terraform, and you have to come to that in security credentials, come all the way down and create that in a access key. So once you'll create that in access key, it will prompt that in access key ID and secret key ID. I'll not click on the so you have to copy that in access key and secret key and place into the in one of that in a place. So let me delete as well, which is not needed. And here you have to put the access key, and here with the secret key, then you will get the connectivity. After that, we have an environment variable. So that this is the second way where you have to put that in. If you are using the Linux, you have to use the something like that. And this is the export command, which will be export that into your terminals, and the tf underscore var underscore that in a prefix you have to use, followed by that in AWS underscore access underscore key underscore ID and the value, and similarly for secret key and default region as well. If you are using the Windows, instead of export, just use the set, and that will be work. After that, we have a share credentials file. So this will be like in I'll prefer if you are using that in not if you are not using that in EC2 instance from Terraform, you know. So in that case, what you have to do, you have to just put the region and share credentials file and name of the profile. So for doing these ones, what you need to do, you have to create that in AWS like in credentials under that in your user, and the credentials will be look something like that, where you have to put the default, which is the profile, AWS access key ID and AWS secret key ID. And don't try this like an access key ID and secret key ID. This is just a demo, and I have already deleted. So this is the way, and another way we have. So here I'm placing that in locations of the file where we have a credentials on the profile as a default whatever's mentioned. So this way you can put that in a different profile, one for development, one for QA, one for pre-productions, another one for like in a productions, and this will be used for like in in single system. You can use that in multiple profile and different credential. After that we have this is that in best way, but I'll use that in these ones because I'm using my local PC, and this will work perfectly. In second way we have a zoom role. So for a zoom roles, you have to create that, you have to be in that in AWS EC2 server, and then you have to create that in a role, and then you have to use that in ARN and name of the role, followed by the session name and extension side ID. So these ones I will not talk because it will take a long time in this video, especially if required then I'll create that in another next video for especially this topic itself. So this way I'm going to use the which is share credentials file for doing that in demo, and let's go and do that in demo now. So what I have did, I have just created that in one provider file, and in this provider file nothing is there, just I'm using that in region which is US East 1 and share credentials file what I like and display that in at the moment, and the profile I'm using that in a default. So it's a only 1 2 3 4 5 6 line of code, and this code will be do something. So what I have to do, we have to just open the command prompt, and if you have not installed that in yet in Terraform, just go and watch that in my Terraform video, how to install that in Terraform in Windows or like Linux, and and then follow these ones. So I'll be also share that in that link into that in descriptions below, or you can find that in a playlist in my channel. So let me go at the moment. If you'll see in this folder, only the provider .tf file is there, and as we talked that like in all Terraform file will just like a plain textful file, but the extensions will be there as a tf. So I'm in that in command prompt, and as we discussed, we are like in command which is we have a terraform. So if you type that in a Terraform, you'll be get something like that, all those list of a command. So what are the commands I'm going to use first, which is BALIDAT, build. So it's saying that in place that in a versions requirement and versions installed none. So before doing that in this ones, it's saying that in before validations, put that in a versions. So what I'll do, I'll let it be validate in for later, and what I'll do, I'll start with init. Let's see what is happening. So once you'll do that in Terraform Init, it will be go and download the all plugins. So plugins is started like in started downloading. So provider plugins downloaded and checking for a provider plugin, and I started the HashiCorp 3.1.0 and many more, and AWS version. So if I use that in this version greater than equal to 3.1 into that in provider section, so this that error will be like in not display. So what if you want, then we can see version, control C, and then open the provider, and here just place that in a version. Yeah, so version also validated successfully. So at the moment just we created the perform the validate and init. If you'll do that in Terraform like in plan, and there's no resource at the moment, so nothing will be happen because there's no change, infrastructure is up to date. So what happened, we provide the credentials, but yet we didn't test it, just it's downloaded the plugin. So for that we have another videos demo which will be have just creating the additionals one VPC for testing purpose. So let me go and do that in this as well. Again, Terraform plugins is downloaded, which is just a provider Windows ASM and Terraform provider plugins. And so other than the provider, just we have only one resource, which is I'm creating the AWS VPC, which is virtual private cloud, and I'm using the cider block and just the name of my VPC. So it's a very a small code. And if I'll go and perform the plan, it will be stated that one resource is going to be created. Yeah, one resource is going to be added. If we'll do that in AWPLY, so meaning now we are able to connect from our Terraform instance to AWS, and it's going to be create this resource. So I can say that in our we have a connectivity, and with help of that we can see that in one new instance is creating into the in AWS services. So for that you have to come all the way down and go to that in a VPC section, and you have to choose that in region. So I'm in North Virginia. So if you'll see that in a VPC count 2, which is my VPC, and just now it's created whatever, so we put that in cider block, and it's saying that in one resource added, and after that just we'll say that in Terraform destroy. So okay, sorry, Terraform uh, Terraform destroyed. So with help of this command, that resource will be deleted from that in AWS VPC. Yeah, so that resource deleted, and if I'll refresh here, so that will be gone. So how to test that, and we have a proper connectivity is there or not. So I'll go, and for just for testing purpose, what I'll do, I'll destroy that in my access key and secret key, and for demo purpose, and anyhow the demo is done, and going forward I'll create the new and for further demo. And this is the key we have used it. So I'll copy and go to that in my AWS credentials file. So this is that in a key, yeah, and that in access key. So I'll mark as a delete. Don't share this access key and secret key, or otherwise your account will be compromised. So anyhow I have deleted now, and if I'll go and perform that in Terraform apply command now, so it will be fail. Yeah, so what error we are getting, that error configuring Terraform AWS provider, you're validating a provider credentials, error calling that in a get calls okay, get calls identity invalid client token ID. So security token includes that in request is invalid. So something like an issue you are getting, meaning you don't have a connectivity from that in your AWS to new Terraform to that in AWS. So you have to be careful and going forward. Not careful, just to remember this issue, and this error also I'll place that into that in descriptions. And reference you can follow that in from here. And uh, please like, share, and don't forget to subscribe my channel, and thanks for watching.